pain and your emotional well-being. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 50 already of our annual challenge, our Get Your Goals annual challenge. And this month we are focusing on emotional well-being and the emotional area and aspect of our life. We're setting goals, we're doing the SOAP framework, we're finding out and using tools that help us to create the emotional well-being that we want. Why? Because we actually feel our emotions first. Before we think anything, before we decide anything, we experience an emotion, and that means it's the first line of defense when it comes to choosing the emotions that we want. Today, this is not painkillers, but I'm talking about painkillers and pain and the impact it has on our emotional well-being. There's two components to pain, and since I've had chronic pain since almost my entire life, for about 5 decades, I've had to learn to cope with and deal with pain in different ways. Now, in my 20s, I was literally bedridden for the majority of 3 years of my 20s, and the doctors went to literally hundreds and hundreds of doctor appointments, only to find out that I had some systemic thing wrong with my kidneys, wrong with my vision, wrong with my inflammation in my body system, and arthritis, but they couldn't identify exactly what it was. So after years of doctoring, they said, well, good luck to you, because we don't have anything for you. You've gone through all of the different medications and things that we have at our disposal at this time, but maybe check back and we'll see if something changes and medicine comes up with different solutions to the problems that you may have, or is able to diagnose what it is that's going on with you. So needless to say, it fell on me, which it always falls on us, although we don't always know it. I was looking for the magic answer and the magic pill from people outside myself, from doctors and authorities and people I thought and was raised to believe should know better, should know how to cure me. Well, the only people that can really cure us are ourselves. Only we can do it. And that's, once I came to terms that, hey, this is on me. I'm gonna have to figure out what works for me, because I'm not gonna waste the rest of my 20s. I am not going to just fade away in a dark room, dark bed most of the time, because it was before the internet, before much television, etc. So it was just, couldn't read, couldn't see, so I couldn't do much of anything back then. And I said, and asked myself, is this going to be my life, or am I going to make different choices? And I decided it was going to be up to me to figure it out. So first thing I did was get off all of the medications, the crazy things that the doctors had me on, because they didn't do a terrific job back then communicating with one another and treating you as a whole human being. Everybody had their own protocol. So my nephrologist had one protocol, my arthritis doctor's rheumatologist had another protocol, my optometrist and eye doctors had a different protocol. And even though all the things were really connected to my immune system, they were treating it each individually. And some of those medications were actually contraindicated and causing me to be much, much sicker and bedridden. And once I stopped taking them, I was able to actually begin to function. And was I in a whole lot of pain? Yes, but that was, back before they were handing out opioids like candy. The pharmaceutical companies I blame for the whole opioid crisis, by the way. I have a lot of strong opinions on that. If you want to know, you have to ask me in one-on-one conversations, because I've seen some crazy stuff, and even worse is going down now. And it makes me really sad, because doctors are not being doctors anymore and taking care of their patients and following the Hippocratic Oath. They are doing what the government tells them to, or doing what pharmaceutical companies tell them to, and that is not in the best interest of their patients. So anyway, I digress. Today we're talking about pain. What does pain have to do with our emotional well-being? Well, if we're feeling pain, if you're feeling pain and experiencing pain, how relaxed and stress-free and energetic and happy and comfortable are you? Not at all. And those are the opposite of what we want to be. So we all experience pain differently. That's the thing about pain, and that's the biggest challenge with treating chronic pain. There are so many sources of chronic pain that there's no one protocol and no one way to treat people. And doctors have not spent a lot of time and energy studying chronic pain, and neither are pharmaceutical companies, except to patch it with drugs and medication that actually causes more harm than good in a lot of situations. Not all. I have good friends that function because they take those medications. And if they didn't take them, they would literally be curled up in a ball in their bed and non-functioning. And that is not a life. So we all experience pain differently. I feel pain differently than other people do. I suspect I have a very, very high tolerance for pain compared to other people and compared to most people. And primarily because I've had to find ways to cope and deal with it for decades. And once you've had to deal with something for decades, you figure it out. You look to experts and other people to try to help you get tips, tricks, and strategies, but you still have to test it out and figure it out for yourself. The way we deal with and work through pain is it's important that we have a way to deal with that. Now, there's a difference. There's a difference between pain that's long-term and chronic pain and acute pain. If I break my arm, which, knock wood, I have never broken a bone and I don't plan to, if I broke my arm, that would be acute pain, and you can treat that with short-term medications and things just to get you over the hump of the acute pain. You know, acute pain is quick. It's caused by accidents, things like that. It's not caused by like long-term injuries in our body, or car accidents and things can cause acute pain that then turns into chronic pain. Again, we could talk about pain. I could talk about pain probably for 10 years nonstop in my different experiences with that. But the one thing that I was frustrated about and why I was always looking for the diagnosis was because I thought that would tell me the root cause of the pain I was experiencing. And I guess that was probably a false belief of mine, because what do you do then when you can't determine what the root cause is? If other experts and you can't identify what the root cause is. The really tricky thing about pain is it's got more components than the physical, what's wrong, diagnostic illness or disease. It's got a lot of emotion that's tied into it too. And I personally have come to believe that our emotions can trigger illness and physical problems and challenges in our body. And that includes pain, right? Pain up to and including death in my personal experience. So we want to try to identify the root cause, but not get so freaked out if we can't pinpoint it. We can still find solutions to alleviate and reduce the pain or our experience of the pain. Sometimes you can't reduce the pain, but we can reduce how we experience the pain. One of the tricks I did to actually work on myself and get out of bed in my 20s was the thing with pain is it's so intense, it has you and all your attention on it. So we find ourselves paying all of our attention to the times when the pain is super intense, and then we feel like it all runs together, and every instant of our day or hour or life is painful. But the truth is, pain ebbs and flows, and sometimes it's super intense and then it'll back off a teeny tiny bit, and then it's super intense and it'll back off a teeny tiny bit. And I tricked myself into focusing on the times when it was reducing and looking for the times it was reducing, and then expanding that amount of time, because the more I noticed the times it was less, the more I experienced it less. And that was my trick for dealing with all of the pain and minimizing, not minimizing it, but making it quieter in my experience in my mind in order to function at all. And then as I did that, I expanded that more and more and more. And I learned that by focusing on the time when I wasn't in excruciating pain, and I think most pain patients, long-term pain patients, have the ability to do this. They notice the times that they're feeling like they can do anything. I mean, sometimes it's just getting up and washing your face. And they can't. They just have to stay in bed. And so when you have those moments, you do what you can, and then you get up and you move and you do what you can, because those moments will expand and you will get longer time with some relief from the excruciating pain. Anyway, that's just my experience. So today, all I want you to do is think about pain in your life. Share in the comments below what causes you the biggest pain. Maybe it's mine right now is my left knee. My left knee is a big pain, right? I've just got some acute pains that pop up, and it doesn't hurt all the time because I focus on the times it doesn't hurt. But every once in a while, I'll get a pain that stops me in my tracks and gets my attention. That means there's something wrong in my knee, but I'm trying to figure it out and fix it myself without having to go get my mom has prolotherapy. She's had a knee replacement. I don't want to start replacing the things in my body yet. So share in the comments below the biggest pain area in your life, and think about today, what about that is physical, what about that is emotional, what about that is maybe based on let's just do physical and emotional, because that's a good delineation. All right, any questions about this, hit me up. Otherwise, I am going to go celebrate the pain of my son's birth. Not the pain of his birth, it's his birthday today. So we're going to celebrate that. I'm going to see all my granddaughters. So I'm super excited. All right, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.